Cool. All right. I have a new setup here with a new camera, a little bit of a focusing issue. There we go. Okay. I think I got some audio. I think I got some good video. And we're gonna dive right in, whether anybody's here or not. So, hey guys, it's Kent. With Void Realm Minis, I am going to sculpt in virtual reality a kitbashed monster to celebrate Halloween right now. I'm going to use a lot of the pieces that I included in my kitbash Halloween pack that I released on Patreon recently for all my patrons. So if you head to excuse me, if you head to patreon.com/voidrealmminis, you can check out a preview of that pack, and I'm going to use those assets and a couple of others. The goal here is to quickly generate a cool cosmic horror for Halloween, mash up some stuff together. It should be a lot of fun to watch. If you're joining this stream at any point, I'll try to remind people, please jump in the chat, whether it's just to say hello, or if you also have ideas and you want to respond to the sculpt and see some things. I might have some questions, so it's just going to depend on how many people are in here at a time, and otherwise I'm just going to kind of groove and do my thing. So I'm going to jump into my stream here. Let's get this going. So this is a little bit of a new setup. I'm not going to do the green screen thing. I'm going to try showing you guys in the bottom corner here my stream camera, and then just a fixed camera in VR so that we can see the sculpt a little more clearly, hopefully. So we're going to give this a shot. I'm going to jump into VR here. I'm going to pull up a window for me so that I can keep an eye on the stream, and so that I can also keep an eye on the chat as well. Would like to throw, yeah. So you probably cannot see what I'm doing, but I'm basically just trying to give me something. Give me something that can keep me track of kind of how things are going. And then I'm going to also quickly here pull up the chat window. Let's try this. Yeah. So I'm going to move the chat window over here to the right. I'm just basically placing VR windows in the space so that I, yeah, don't have to take the headset off every time I want to check on chat and stuff. If anybody is here and wants to give me a quick, like, how's the audio, if anything is crazy, if the levels are crazy, seems like they're pretty good. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to get started here. Let's make sure we got this camera going. Great. I think that'll get us to a good spot. Cool. So what I'm going to do for this sculpt is I'm going to work around the Pale Warlock here. This is a model that I just released on Patreon. It's an old model from my Spiral Horrors campaign. We're going to make a monster that sits around it so that if you guys print the Warlock at home, you'd be able to add this thing behind him or around him, kind of to create a little bit of a diorama or something like that. I thought that would be cool. So let's get this set up. I'm going to do a little bit of manipulating here. Yeah, Cool. Get it rotated. Placed nicely, and yeah, without further ado, let's begin. So the first thing I'm going to do is just blob out a lot of mass. We're going to color this guy to keep him separated so it doesn't get confusing. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of, we're going to go for like an oozy monster, I think, and something that sort of I'm going to be trying a couple of different strokes and things here. And I don't really have a plan or a sketch. I'm using Adobe Medium here to just work inside directly and start blocking out stuff. I'm seeing just an opportunity for something really, really bizarre pop up here, like right in here, a bit of a maybe a mouth or an opening inside the belly, a couple of heads spawning off. You see, I got maybe some sort of legs action or tentacles, not really sure what. Let's pull that, and I'm gonna start also. You can see as I'm spinning the camera, I've got these objects lined up here in the background. These are some of the assets from the kitbash pack that we'll start using maybe as pieces to put into the sculpt itself. I'm actually gonna maybe hide those, yeah, for ease of use right now. Cool. So still here, I'm just kind of working on general form, a bit of a block out. I did see pretty immediately this T-Rex style foot that I'll probably throw in right there. And then his body, I think I'm just going to kind of swing into a bit of a swirl, kind of melt it into either like a magic whirl around here, or maybe like some classic, kind of viney stuff. Always looks good. Can't go wrong with twisting tree roots and vines and branches. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. All right, and now let's kitbash a bit. So these are some pieces I have to work with. I know I'll be using this guy. I'm gonna go ahead and make a stamp of him. Take a new layer and then so I'm just zooming in really quick here. It's going to look a little messy on the stream, but closing some gaps. I'm constantly thinking about this is going to be printed, so I'm going to be closing up little seams and checking gaps and stuff. And then even later in ZBrush, I'll be making modifications to the form and structure to make sure that it'll print well. This mask could be pretty cool somewhere too. Maybe like a no face type situation from Studio Ghibli. Could have this sort of sitting up here benevolently, and then his actual face or maw we could pull a little bit lower. I think I'm gonna pull a bit of a tail or something out this way and trail it. So just checking out the silhouette right now from a couple of different angles. I don't know if this guy's gonna end up actually fitting there. And sorry if the banner there's blocking out a little bit, but this will be okay. Pretty happy with the general direction this is going in. I think I'm gonna give the leg a little more structure here. So what I'm gonna do is pull out a couple of, this is like a little bit of a hack I'm doing, a couple quick constrained rectangles that have a bit more structure to them. And then from there, I'm actually going to delete this part of the old leg from the sketch in that first layer. Just go ahead and clear this out. All right. And then start establishing some of those primary leg forms. And getting it sitting in space the way that feels good to me and makes sense. What if we have like some very classical Greek sculpture here perched up on top? That could be pretty weird and interesting. Okay, so just to pause for a second and kind of look at, let's do a little turntable here. This is cool. I like this idea as something that the warlock would have summoned up behind him in defense or aggression, to initiate an attack, or maybe this is like uh, his loyal hound that defends him, that he can call upon at any time. From here, I think my next steps would be to just try to really quickly give some refinement to the leg, the body, a little bit of these appendages that are sticking out here. These two, kind of figure out what those are, and go from there. We've been at it for how long now? Maybe 30 minutes or so? 22 minutes? Okay. So let's eliminate these and then bring them back on their own as new layers. It's a bit of a curve to them. I'm gonna make a few of these. Okay, a couple ideas. We could put some masks on the edge of them. So we have this kind of idea. Although I think I immediately see I really want them to be kind of all looking in different directions with different tilts. Not sure it's going to be that exact mask. But anyway, let's go on a new layer and kind of texture up the main body here with some root work. So this is where it's gonna definitely slow down a bit. I'm gonna make some adjustments to the resolution, kind of build on top of this rough form I'd created and start giving a little bit of definition to everything, to this mass, some interest and detail. I'm also going to save it really quickly because streaming takes a lot of computer power and sometimes the stuff can crash. Some of these pieces, like these little things, I love making little stuff like this. Sometimes they get a bit too small and thin as a 3D printable. You know, you want detail, but you don't need things to be unnecessarily thin. So, you know, I kind of, as I make these passes, think about things that either later I need to thicken up or just go ahead and add some weight to them now. I know these guys will be pretty small, but we'll see how it does. I do like some of the holes and gaps in the initial block out, so I'm going to try to keep some of that here. Cool thing about VR, of course, is I can get really close to the sculpt and kind of move it where I need. So my goal here is I want to knock this out fast for you guys. I want to try to get enough information in the design in VR to get it out pretty quickly and go ahead and move into ZBrush. Feel like maybe with about 10 more minutes I could get there. Let's see. All right. Yeah, I think I want a different face for these little Hydra heads here. Sometimes these little moves with the move brush in the medium here can really add interest to the forms that I've just laid down. So, and sometimes I'll make sure when I'm moving, I'm hitting all layers too, not just the active one. That way everything stays together. It just depends on what I want or need at the time. All right. Yeah, real quick, let's give him some spikes. Oh, yep, so in this case, I need the active layer only so I can pull out that spine. I'm gonna flatten it a little bit, thicken it up, shorten it. So now that I have the stamp, I can really quickly add some more of these and kind of vary the size of them. Okay, and then of course this mouth probably is going to need some teeth. I'm going to use the same spine for that. Although I'm gonna, yeah. Give it a little bit more of a curve, probably. There we go. Turn that into a stamp. And then about the same size. We'll see. The teeth probably need some work, but I can move those around in ZBrush too. Let's go back to the vines here and make sure we kind of get good coverage on everything. I can tend to do that. I kind of jump back and forth when I see stuff, work on it, then return. So let's go back here and kind of finish out this texturing. Now, since this guy is getting pretty big, I really don't want to split this up if I don't have to, but if we go with the Pale Warlock being printed next to him, he is going to be a pretty big print. It could be nice to split it up here or here, although, you know, because this is a bit of a speed sculpt, I'm not going to worry too much about keying that. Oh, hey Jacob. Okay, cool. I got somebody in the chat. What's up? uh, yeah, appreciate it. I really like to go asymmetrical with stuff. Keeps me from getting bored. I find that, you know, everything has more energy. Sometimes for efficiency, of course, it's good to know when to start symmetrical and then break from that. And then I definitely need to give his legs some more texture and start breaking up those forms. You know what? Let's add a little detail down here, like a fun Easter egg, and just put like a big old eyeball like right in his belly. This is like classic Void Realm Minis stuff. But if I stay underneath him, let's kind of draw that in, smooth some of this out, push it around. Then we could add a. Oh, nice. Yeah. Hey, I'm glad, Jacob. I'm glad you made it on. I thought maybe it would take you a couple hours and that you might miss it because I'm trying to get this done in like an hour and a half or two at the most. Quick save. Let's add a new layer for this eyeball. Boom. I mean, why not, you know? It is a little bit big, though, so I'm gonna... Boom. Head back to... Yeah, this detailing here, so... Yeah, I do not like his teeth like I thought I would. Probably need to be smaller. Alright. Time for this leg. I'm going super rough with the brush here. I have a bit of anatomy training, so I'm gonna try to hit some of these forms and like the main muscles of the quad and those plane changes, but just really kind of suggest it more than really try to nail it. Okay. Boom. Yeah, I'm reading the chat here. You could always line them like more of a lamprey leech. I agree. I think that's what this mouth is gonna need. Is like a smaller, serrated, uh, disgusting, like not so aggressive in your face fangs, but more of a, if you get caught in it, you're gonna get sliced up pretty good. So I may even need to pull in some lamprey reference. Done a lot to those, but it's always good to kind of have a photo to give you some guidance. That said, I'm freehanding this anatomy because it's a creature and I've sculpted enough legs. I should be able to more or less get this kind of pulled out. But would like to really see his heel up here. Then starting to pull out the 3 toes. And then duplicate this toe and then kind of tweak the sizing on it. And plop it into place. Then he needs a talon. was thinking it'd be kind of disgusting maybe if this was more like a nail instead of, again, not so aggressive like a sharp dragon claw, but more of a stubbier, maybe something like that. Cool, yeah, this is okay. This is looking pretty rad, I think. And it places itself well around the warlock here. Let's see. Yeah, I saved it. I'm gonna quickly jump into my assets folder and just kind of see what I have. I do have these 3 masks. We might crash the software here trying to load these. Let's try. Oh no, that was good. Okay. So I'm going to bring in this model, new layer, copy it. So these are from they're from like January 2022, I think. This mask, and they're kind of cool because they're blind, so they would be reaching out with some kind of extra sensory feelers or something. We got 4 of these. I think, yeah. Let's bring in the other 2. Cultist masks. So here we go. I'm just gonna get the resolution on this up a little bit. So, pardon the mess here of menus. Yeah, that's what we want, something a little bit cleaner. And I got one more mask form here that I can throw down. Yeah, this one's just a little bit different. It's kind of playing with the head position here to sort of see what I like. And, like, as I do this, I see, well, this thing's got a little bit of a gap here that really is not necessary. Close it up. And then they also might need to sort of the vines might need to sort of smash and spread out as they meet these heads. Boom. Yeah, get that going a little bit. Catching up on chat, I definitely like these masks more. The blind aspect makes them feel less overtly threatening, which seems to be the vibe you're going for. Yeah, I think the threatening thing is definitely the mouth, and the masks themselves are probably these peripheral heads are probably helping it gather information or sensory data, stuff like that. Cool. And then I do still, I think I like this one up here. I'm going to look at the sculpt without it. Maybe it just needs a little bit of sizing. Placement. And then, of course, we got to kind of get the gaps filled in. So I just need some mass back here. And yeah, I think I want to just add some this kind of like it's kind of stretching and pulling itself. Something like that. Cool, we are at 50 minutes, 50. I could keep tweaking stuff like this forever. But an hour's it's not a lot of time to have spent on a sculpt like this. And I think it's in a pretty cool state. Kind of address the way this vine texture passes around and over some of these spines. I sort of placed them where I thought they might kind of pop out naturally, but they definitely need a little bit of additional texture work here. Put that in. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and merge that leg together. All right, so maybe what I'm feeling is just to finish off this hour. It's that I need to get the teeth kind of set in here, and then I think from there we can start. I think I can get it out of VR right now. So I'm just kind of checking this profile from the bottom, hitting it a couple of times. It's cool. This is almost like an extra foot back here. We're going to leave it as a vine. But it looks like it's really planting itself down. So does this one. Thanks, Jacob. Yeah, I do have a lot of experience at this point sculpting things like this. I also, when I need to do something quick, there's, of course, like vines and roots. This will take me a lot less time, and it's still looking pretty cool than if I were to, like give each one of these appendages like a hand or a foot that would need its own custom anatomy. I'd have to really work to dial that stuff in. And the point of this live stream is to get something cool quickly in more of a speed sculpt situation. So yeah, also using the knowledge I've accumulated over the years to know what I can and cannot generate as quickly. So yeah, with that in mind, all right, let's really quickly try to get some sort of lamprey mouth situation here. Like thinking needs a new layer. I'm gonna throw this down. Yeah, I think this will be the way to go. And then we can throw one more row in. And as it gets further and further recessed, this one would be a bit more circular. I'm going to clean up all the mouth geometry too to kind of work around these teeth next and eliminate some of the unnecessary gaps. So this is just going to be a bit of busy work here real quick. So we kind of draw, I'm just got to look at these gaps around the teeth and probably needs a bit of a defined edge or lip to his mouth too. So yeah, I'm just gonna really dive in here. So the video is gonna look crazy, but this is me getting really close, looking exactly at where these gaps are and filling them in. Pretty cool advantage to sculpting in virtual reality because I can really dive in and look at the model in 3D and see exactly, get exactly where I need to get to make some of these adjustments. And then really quickly, I can just boom, zoom out, get an overall picture, and then dive back in. And even here, like, I'm going to do a little bit of this curve situation. This will just sort of reduce the amount of pre-supporting necessary, and it's not going to really affect, visually the model itself. So where some of these teeth really pull away, I'll just bridge that gap a little bit. Get right up under it. Up, and then a little bit more lip here. I do still like this little hole. Hopefully it's not too small for printing. Some of these gaps are cool. And I'm thinking here just about these roots and how they sort of branch and twist around each other. But as they come into the mouth and form that, I don't think I want them crossing as much. I want to give it almost like they've really spread out and pulled themselves into that mouth shape, if that makes sense. Give some variety to the sculpt, for sure. It's like here, where these come down, they'll come down and then pull out, and come down and pull around, and you know, we just end up with a slightly different feeling around the main maw here. Okay, we're coming up on an hour, which is what I wanted to spend. Yeah, let's have a look real quick. I keep seeing little things, just little like beats and rhythm changes to that in the form that would feel good from different angles. Yeah, this freaking Greek classical sculpture up here. I don't know what's going on. I think it's cool though. I'm definitely keeping it. I almost think it needs a bit of a like a bit of a frame to it. If that makes sense. Like some of these vines here coming up. Sort of holding it in place. Yeah, with the teeth helps make the mouth feel claustrophobic in a good way. It makes him seem dense and packed. Yes. Cool, I like that. Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but the claustrophobia and the just sort of amount of mess that you would get yourself into inside the mouth definitely has that vibe as opposed to if the teeth were sticking out. Yeah, like you could definitely play with this idea that maybe it's like a cursed object, or that maybe this thing like materializes things at the top here. Maybe it is an ancient thing that is sort of like, yeah, I don't know, like maybe the warlock has kind of influenced like Roman history in some way. I don't know. We could think about that, or we could just go with, you know what, it's cool, it's random, it's a bit unsettling. But yeah, I like it. I'm gonna now clean up some of this stuff, this peripheral stuff, and then we're gonna export it. So again, if anybody that missed the beginning, if you're watching right now, this blue guy here is my Pale Warlock. I sculpted him a year ago for the Spiral Horrors campaign I launched on Kickstarter. Recently dropped it as a free throwback mini for all of my patrons. This monster I've made here in VR, we're gonna take into ZBrush and clean up and get ready for 3D printing. The Warlock himself, the idea is that you'll be able to print this monster character and it would sit around the Warlock. So I have him placed here, the idea being that it will sit in that frame. So I'm going to get rid of him now. And there we are. Save this in VR here. I'm going to keep the stream going. And I'm going to jump into ZBrush next. All right, so just give me a moment now. I need to reconfigure my monitor setup here. So I have to move my monitors out of the way while I'm working in VR so the sensors can't see me. I'm using an old system. Yeah, Jacob, you will see the finished result soon enough. Thanks for jumping in and chatting. I really appreciate it. It's nice to have someone on the stream and kind of discuss the sculpt as it's going back and forth. Cool. Let me pop open ZBrush here. I'm also gonna exit from VR, try to save some computer power. And then we'll go switch this, there we go. Get the chat window up. So, let's keep going then. I'm gonna import this sculpt into ZBrush right now. 691 megabytes, and ZBrush crashed on me. Great, this is a great start. Sometimes this happens. If this happens again, it could be if I left some of these raw models in the sculpt, then ZBrush doesn't really like it, and I might have done that in my haste to get this exported. Let's see. Oh no, I think it worked. Okay. Here we go. Let me increase the dock size real quick and then redraw it out on the canvas. Yeah. All right. This is a speed sculpt. So want to really quickly get into the texturing and stuff. I'm going to separate out some of these pieces into a separate group or layer. Probably the teeth don't need to be. Yeah. Okay, so this is just sort of the main monster in the anatomy. So we will invert the selection, split hidden. I don't think anybody watching the stream is looking for like extreme YouTube tutorial type information. If you are, I apologize. I might go a little bit quickly or not fully explain what I'm doing. But if anybody is watching and you happen to have a question or wonder what I just did, shoot me a message in the chat and I can slow down or explain stuff. I have some of my custom menus up here going, things like that. So let's get to this main guy, and I'm gonna mesh him. Hopefully we don't crash. Yeah, okay. Probably, you know what? I think I also want to get the spines out of the way because I'm going to want to add some noise and kind of general surface detail, so I don't want those spines to be affected by that. So I'm going to split them into their own group as well. Okay, and now I will save this really quickly just on my desktop, and we'll do Halloween horror. And yeah, let's keep going. Mesh. So I got my tablet up here, booted up. I'm gonna just grab of course the tablet's one a bit wonky on me. Alright, that seems to be better. Still sort of getting interference. I'm gonna try resetting my tablet one more time. I might need to restart ZBrush. Apologies for that. We'll see if this works. If it doesn't, I'll do a couple quick tricks directly in Z. Maybe without that, I won't need the tablet for. Yeah, I'm just getting a lot of. Think that the tablet's going to need a full computer restart. All right, so instead, let's go for a couple of tricks. Tiny bit of inflate, if you see that. Just that'll help close some gaps. We'll re-dynamesh that. I will add a bit of surface noise. I think also I'll add the noise on a separate layer. Yeah. And then I'm also gonna... Yeah, we're gonna mask by noise. Cool. And then I'm gonna pop another inflate a few times. Maybe invert the selection. And then I'm just gonna have to stick with the mouse here. Let's see. And I'm gonna change the noise one more time. Use a speckled stone, maybe. And again, we'll mask. I'm gonna also now polish it. Not that much. Well, you know what? We're on a layer here, so I will stop recording and I will just decrease the intensity of that. Yeah. And I'm going to make a couple of moves here, like to sort of improve the silhouette. Maybe I really need to get my tablet reset so that I can just smooth out a lot of this stuff. But speed sculpt, okay. Cool thing about that noise application is that the faces and the main body are textured quite differently. So all those embedded faces, if you're painting it, will be a lot easier to sort of pop out visually. Same thing with the masks. They're all much smoother, so they'll contrast a bit. Let's see. I think... Okay, we got the spines. I don't want to do too much to them. We could get into trimming and carving planes and maybe a little bit of damage or something, but I think they'll be good as is. And then we got all of our faces. Yeah, they're also pretty good. Let's group these together. I'm also going to pull in the Warlock. I got him right here. I gotta put him on his own. On his own subtool first. Yeah, there we go. So import. All right, so basically I'm thinking the way to do this, okay, is so what I've imported now, this Warlock, this is him scaled to his printed size at 32mm scale. So what I'm gonna do is take the monster that I just made, this is to help me with scaling, and I'm gonna scale him down to fit. And when I export this, I will reference the Warlock himself for the sizing. Now we had done when I originally sculpted it in VR, we had something like this. Yeah. Where he could be placed. So, we got the Warlock right there. Scaled to size. We got this guy scaled to size. This probably makes this print roughly 100mm tall, which is pretty big for a miniature. I'm gonna this foot down. Yeah, nice. I think I want to shrink, if I can, this monster. I don't want him to be quite so big. And I'm assuming this, this also isn't exact, the placement of this Warlock. We just want to be able to make a bit of a cool diorama with it, but I'm not really going, in this case, with going for speed. I'm not going for a very specific orientation. But like this, for example, would work. You'd be able to throw him underneath. Or just sneak him out a bit more to the side. Maybe the angle. And then we'll, yeah, move this out of the way. Well, I actually really like the silhouette here from the back. You got the leg coming down. The spine's on the back. You can sort of feel the hunch of it a bit. And then as we wrap around here to the front, we see the maw. The maw and the peripheral heads. Yeah, let's just prep this for printing, I think. I think what I'd really like to do with this live stream is just keep moving and sort of show the process all the way through. So I would typically probably refine this a lot more. Smoothing out some of these plane angle changes, adding extra detail maybe to the spines, carving in, for example, might do a little bit of this right now, actually. I just want to separate the toe a little bit. So just delineating for painting and form. Just a bit of a... Again, I want to keep the stream going. I don't really want to spend time resetting my computer here. So that's just sort of roughed that with the mouse, but that's cool. All right. Let's go through the steps to get this guy saved and printed. So we've got, first thing I'm going to do is decimate all three of these subtools. I'll then Boolean them together, and then we'll check the sizing and kind of do an initial assessment, see like what kind of machines it fits on and stuff. So pre-process all subtools. This if you're watching and unfamiliar, ZBrush is basically calculating the surfaces of all of the different objects, the subtools that I have over here. It's going to calculate them in a way that it'll be able to decimate and turn the whole form into a triangulated mesh, which is what you need for 3D printing, because then everything is perfectly planar and flat, all of the different plane changes. A lot of the polygons in this model right now are quads. They're going to have 4 sides to them, and those aren't necessarily perfectly flat. So if we decimate the model, we'll maintain as much detail as possible, but we will restructure it so that it has those perfectly flat plane changes. All right, so to show you what I mean, got all these parts, and I'm going to look at their model count. It's 900,000 polygons. We'll probably do then 20% decimation on them. So you can see what I got is not much different than before. This is before, this is after. You probably can't see much of a change at all. If I do this, you can see it change a little better. But that basically took it down to only 20% of the original polygon count, and we kept pretty much all the information, especially printed at scale. At scale, it's going to be about maybe that tall. So I'll move to the next subtool here. This one is going to be a pretty big move. We've got 1.5 million polygons, so I'm going to take that down. I'm going to try 10% first. That'll take us down to about 150,000. But immediately, that is way too low quality. You see that really took it down too much. So I'm going to bump that up to 20%. Even that might be a bit too low. It is. This will be a pretty big file. This is 700,000 polygons. So original 1.48 million, and then we're gonna, you know what? Maybe I'll try a different move. I'm gonna smooth it out a little bit, and then process this one again. This is gonna take a little bit of time. It's 6 million polygons now, but I want to see if I can just get a little bit better detail preserved and just smoothness of surface form. So the ZBrush is calculating here. Take a bit of time. This is definitely the less exciting part. the VR sculpt for me is really spontaneous and fun, but it's important to move into this state where you start to control the sculpt and then do the technical steps necessary to get it ready for proper printing. Oh, give it a minute. After this is decimated and booleans together, we will update the size of it, export it. Again, I'll check it in Lychee, see how it works and fits. And then I'll probably talk about the steps I'll take to add the supports, the pre-supports, but I will not finish that all live on stream. I think mainly because I'm seeing some little bit of geometry issues with this sculpt that I'm going to need to address. I'm going to really need to reset my computer and get my tablet working properly so I can hit some of these areas. And just to show you what I mean before I decimate this out, right here, this bit of geometry is kind of nasty and unnecessary. And this is a pretty quick... Let's do that. Let's see. So that's 600K. Yeah, that's not bad. Rough. What I really need is the tablet so I can go into this sculptress mode and sort of iron out a lot of those places, just like that. The sculptress brush in ZBrush works with triangles, so I'm able to do that after I've decimated and add and kind of refined the object a little more. But there will be a bit of smoothing to be done, especially because I really quickly went out of VR and didn't really give this a good pass over. Like, I can see some areas here that'll just be much better off cleaned up a bit and addressed. Just really don't want to give you guys something that's got a ton of artifacts for printing, So anyway, let's keep going. Next subtool. Okay, the spines. This one will be pretty easy. Honestly, I'm going to keep the poly count pretty high since it was only 68,000 polygons. Get it down to 54. Don't really lose any form. Come back here. And let's put all three of these pieces together with a Boolean. Next really important step is after this Boolean, this move I did. So this just put everything into one tool, and it also welded everything together right here. So if you see, if I were to smooth this out, the geometry is connected now. So this is an important step. I'm going to do a little ZBrush trick where I auto group everything. I'm then going to hide everything except this group. And yeah, you'll see up here the geometry dropped a bit when I hid everything except for the main group. This is because there are little artifacts all over the place. And this trick helps me really quickly isolate the main model, hide all of the tiny artifacts that are their own separate object and group, and then I will delete them, delete hidden. So I'm going to run this process again. I'm going to auto group. I'm going to click on this model. The polygon count does not change, so we know that this is our only object in the file. No artifacts or small random bits of geometry. I'm going to do a check mesh integrity test. That checked out good. Sometimes there are shared edges and things that can be cleaned up by ZBrush pretty easily. I wouldn't be surprised if Lychee still gets a little bit angry with this file, but it should work. Okay, so next, let's go back to here. I want to turn on both of these. I'm going to select the Warlock. I'm going to update the size ratios. You see this gives me 45 by 24 by 35. These are the dimensions that he prints at. So using those dimensions, I'm now going to export everything into its own folder. Halloween or save. We'll give each subtool its own name. So I'm gonna boot up Lychee here really quickly. I'm also going to add Lychee into the stream. Let's add a new window capture. Okay, cool. We're in Lychee now. I'm gonna open up the file that I just exported. Halloween horror. So this is gonna be the merged model. So we can do a couple different things with this. I have my printer here. I'm using the Photon Mono X 6K. It's got a bigger print bed than most of the standard printers. When I'm working with the Patreon models, I will check it with one of these standard printers that has a smaller bed. It actually is fitting in the bed in one piece, which is cool. So a couple of reasons I might split this up into pieces. One would be if it did not fit in the smaller scale for printing. I need to check it on the Mars too. Yeah, it'll still fit. So if it did not fit in one of these smaller machines, and I was working on my monthly premium bundles, I would be splitting it up so to make sure that everybody can print it easily. The other reason I might split it up is if there's a lot of overhangs and things, and it would be a little bit cleaner to pre-support it by splitting up, maybe chopping up the tail so that I could arrange it a certain way. However, most of the pre-supporting these days, the Lychee supports, they're pretty good at not leaving too many surface marks and modifications. If you know what you're doing, you can support pretty much anything. I'm going to finish the stream here by sort of giving you a little bit of an idea of how I arrange this. I'm going to tilt it forward, I think, so that a lot of these details on the top flow up into each other and don't overhang as much. Put it forward here. And then I'm going to go through a couple of processes to get it pre-supported. Usually I have the guys at Atlas do this. I've been pausing my Patreon billing for November and December, so I'm not going to put out the monthly bundles and premium models like I normally do, but I am going to release this to all patrons for free in November and December. So anybody that's currently an active patron will get this file, and I'm just going to pre-support it myself as a result. As I'm sort of pulling back on the quantity of work I'm doing, reassessing how I want to tackle this Patreon in the future, and yeah, but still put out some of this cool stuff for everybody. So I'll run this through a few things. First, I'll do an island detector. This is gonna quickly find all of the islands. So once it does that, I'm going to add supports to all of those islands at probably a medium tip size, about 0.4, maybe 0.3 millimeters. So let's add let's add these medium supports to all islands. Okay, one island it could not support automatically, and that's going to be right about here. There it is. I don't know why. Pretty easy one. All right. But this is not good enough to get this to print. These supports are too small and too delicate for the most part, especially as it starts to build and support all this weight of this figure. So what I'll be doing is taking some of these initial supports down here. I'm going to beef them up so that they're thicker and heavier, and I'm also going to add more. So, like, for example, these I'm going to take up to 0.5 right there. And then what I also do is I will add more 0.5s. I'm just going to be a bit heavy-handed with this. We're not really concerned with the finish detail on the bottom of his foot. So it's okay to add a lot of extra support down there. Now this one with this mask, I'm gonna increase this one tip size, but I'm probably gonna, instead of adding a bunch of heavy ones, I'm gonna add a bunch of mid-weight ones. These will pop off pretty easily, but it's gonna be still really important that these first layers here, that we get a really well supported foundation so that the supports really hold the weight as it starts to build up. So I'll move up the figure and I'll see, even like this, you can see this doesn't technically need supports. There's no overhang right here, but this is starting to get a little wide, a little fast, especially early on, and I'm still not seeing any supports come in. So I'm definitely going to go under here and add back a lot of guys. Sorry about the ambient noise. Somebody is working on some landscaping outside. I always pick the best times to live stream. Okay. So I'm going to do this for the whole model. It's going to take me a bit of time. I'm not going to show this on stream here, but I will make sure that all of these initial areas are supported heavily, either with dense 0.3 supports or with some heavier 0.5 supports, where I really need them to hold that weight. From there, I'll run a test print, and if everything looks good, we'll get it quickly into the hands of all my patrons. So I'm going to finish up here this live stream. We're going to head back into ZBrush just to kind of finish things off. Take one last look at this. It should be a pretty cool print. I hope you enjoyed it, whether you watched it live or if you checked out some of it after the fact. It's really cool for me to be able to take something, step into virtual reality, use some assets and components that I have built up over the years, things that I've sculpted myself, like these masks, things that I've downloaded from museums, like this classical Greek bust, and put together something really wild and wacky and original and horrifying. Hopefully it's feels very appropriate for the season for everyone. So did not get it fully finished today. Need to finish up the supports. I also might come back in this model and again clean up some of that geometry. I'll run it through Lychee again and kind of see how it's looking and to make that decision. But regardless, thank you so much for joining me on this little live stream adventure, this sort of version 2.0. I'm gonna switch back here. Yeah, thanks for joining me. If like I said, if you managed to make it live, awesome. If you are checking out the stream later, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. You can head to patreon.com/VoidRealmMinis probably in a day or two, around the 1st or 2nd of November when I get this model fully finished up and test printed, and we'll make it available to patrons. Again, the last thing to keep in mind is that anybody who signs up for Patreon in October will get the October monthly bundle of AI-inspired demons. And then everybody who's active in October will not get charged for November and December. And I'm still going to drop models like this one and do a couple of live streams during those months. So if you sign up now, stay with me. You'll get some free bonus content during those 2 months when I'm not running the regular monthly bundles. In addition to that, if you wait until November or December to sign up, you will get charged immediately upon sign up. So if you sign up in November, you'll get charged the $8, but then you won't get charged in December. And if you sign up in November and you get charged, you can select any of my previous monthly bundles as a thank you for supporting me during this time. And you'll also, of course, get this content, which will be dropped in the coming weeks. So yeah, thanks again for checking this out. I hope you found this entertaining or informative or inspiring, and I hope this model will delight you when it's available on Patreon and able to be printed and added to your tabletop games. Thanks a lot for joining me, and we'll see you on the next live stream.